Alright guys, welcome to part 4 of the SIP program, our 5 steps for 30 days. So let's just go ahead and get into the meat of it. Alright, so the first thing we're going to talk about is the 5 top feelings that Source holds. And so as you can see on the diagram here, it says Source is unlimited, abundant, perfect, infinite, and complete. Now to be like really quick to the point with this is these all kind of like branch from abundance. You know, there's like only 2 things in the world, but we won't go too much into it right now. There's like abundance and then there's lack, and the source of everything is abundance, and there's so much abundance that there's an abundance of lack. And you might also hear me say in the other videos that it's like all a branch from limitations and being unlimited. But as you can see, like unlimited would be a limit, would be a form of lack, or anything that's finite would be a form of lack. Anything that's imperfect would mean there's a form of lack, or incomplete would mean there's a form of lack. So as you can see, it all branches pretty much from abundance. But I wanted to branch these out into into 5 different things, just to give you that idea of, you know, pretty much all of the things that affect everybody's lives are limitations. You know, lack of money, you know, things not being perfect, or you know, infinite would be like you could look at health maybe, like our lives are finite. And then completion, we don't feel like there's a completion inside of us, you don't feel fulfilled, stuff like that. So I just wanted to break those down so you guys have a better idea of the top feelings that Source holds. It's all feelings, or all branches from the tree of abundance, if that makes sense. So we'll go ahead and go to the second one here. So let's look at step 1. So the first step is affirming and surrendering. So the first thing you're going to do for 30 days is you're going to write down on paper the following: I am Source, or God, divinity, all that exists, the universe, etc. So choose whatever works best for you. For me, Source usually works good, but a lot of people like the word God. Some people like, you know, divinity and all of that. Doesn't matter which one. Whichever one makes you feel like you are the source of all things in your life. So this is something that you're going to want to do first thing in the morning for at least 3 minutes, okay? So just to explain a little bit, reason why I'm getting you to do this first thing in the morning is, like, if the first thing you do in the morning is create a state of being or a state of feeling, then what you're doing is, like I said, you're starting to train yourself to be the one who is in control of your life, okay? Because you're choosing the feelings that you want to start off on. If you wake up first thing in the morning, you look at your phone, get on Facebook, get on any other social media, you're going to start training yourself to become reactive rather than creative. You're going to be a reactive participant in the world rather than a creative participant in the world. So that's what we're doing. We're pretty much getting you down, you know, getting you to walk down the stairs of, you know, a positive momentum for the day. And so what that does, instead of going down the stairs of a negative momentum, this keeps you going at a good pace where you don't have to work so hard to stay positive all day. Let's say you went down the negative stairs instead of the positive stairs, and you went down and became more reactive throughout the day, like not starting your day off by creating the feelings that you wanted to feel, feeling good. What happens is, if you want to turn it around, it gets a lot harder than it would be if you just started your day going down the stairs of positivity, because you have to climb all of those stairs of, you know, negativity to get back up to the starting point to go down the stairs of positivity. So it's really important to do this first thing in the morning. You want to become a creative participant in the world, in your life. You want to starting your morning off with positive feelings, positive, empowering thoughts and ideas, okay? And 3 minutes at least, that's what it usually takes just to start building a structure of feelings inside of you that can keep going for the rest of the day. So while you're doing this, I want you to do the best to think of things that make you feel like this is true. The statement, I am Source. So anything that makes you feel like that. So if that means you have to imagine yourself as a big beam of light throughout space, that's something that I like to do. Or if you see the picture on the slide here, kind of like in a meditative pose but full of space. Space is something that I like to usually associate when it comes to being Source, just because it's like, that's everything's energy, you know, everything's kind of like cosmic and stuff. It's a cosmic idea. So that's usually what I do. And we do have a video on the website, in the program, in the library, or it might be in the extra support, that says I am Source. So if you need a little bit of help getting some ideas to visualize that feeling, you can go there and watch that video. So the next thing is, after you've done that for 3 minutes, is you're going to want to use the following mantra. which is I surrender to my higher self's desires. Now, the reason that we're going to do this, okay, if you remember in part 3, the higher self is like the individuation or the individuated part of Source that is you, okay? So this is like your best self. If you look at the name higher self, it is your highest self, your best self, the self that is still connected to Source, that still remembers that it has all this power, that it is love at its core. The reason we're getting you to do this after identifying with Source is because this makes it easier for you to find guidance and for you to let the desires of your higher self, guide you throughout your day. This works best for you because these are all, like, if you think about it, fine-tuned. They're specified for you. It's not just Source itself in general. This is Source, but the aspect of you, the individuation of you. And if you want a little bit more information on the higher self or how to connect to your higher self or to meet your higher self, and I do actually recommend you do this, so even though you're watching this video and getting the first 5 steps, and maybe after doing that, do definitely go watch the video how to connect with your higher self. There is a guided meditation as well in the program. I think it's in the extra support. If you do that, that'll really help you get an idea of what your higher self looks like. You can start developing a relationship, and it makes it easier for us to relinquish so much, fearful or egoic control of our lives. And then we let our higher self guide us rather than, like I said, our fears. It'd be more of a loving state of place, a loving state of being, a more empowered state of being, a more heart-centered state of being. So you want to do this first thing in the morning for at least 3 minutes for the same reasons. It creates that momentum of positivity, that momentum of letting go of so much control in our lives. It allows us to just flow with the things that are going on in our lives, which makes things a lot less rigid, a lot less painful, and it makes it easier for us to embrace and find joy in the everyday little things and the challenges that come our way as well. So when you do this, picture yourself saying this to your higher self. And like I said, if you haven't connected with your higher self, go check out those videos so you can get an image of what your higher self looks like to you, because it will appear different for every person. But just for general, you can always look at this picture below and you can see the being of the light, and then you're like in the rowboat, and it's like guiding you along, the rough waters. Lastly, you want to use the following mantra as well, which is, my heart is open and I feel love and joy. And the reason for this is love and joy is pretty much what Source is at its core. Unconditional love, and the best and highest expression of that is joy for all things, seeing all things as good. And there are videos throughout the library that explain that a little bit better too. But that is the whole core of what Source is unconditional love. And if you're feeling that, it helps you as well feel that you are Source, but in a different way, from a different perspective or a different angle. And who doesn't want to feel love and joy every day? That's what we're here. That's why we're taking the program, right? To feel love and joy and to be happy. So you want to say that. You want to say, my heart is open and I feel love and joy. You want to do that first thing in the morning for at least 3 minutes. And I usually like to picture a white light in my heart space and to think of joyful things for about 3 minutes, as it really, really helps get me into that vibe of starting my day off on a joyful note. And you can use the picture down here as well, which is like the space meditator with the heart chakra and the light in the middle right there. So step 2 for the program is reiteration and radical responsibility. So for the next 30 days, we're going to be taking something that I like to call true responsibility. And this is the deepest form of responsibility that you can take. So anything that makes you feel victimized or bad in general, I want you to remind yourself that it is because you are Source, okay? I want you to remember that statement from the beginning in step 1. I am Source. When anything in your life makes you feel victimized or bad in general, and I'm focusing on those a lot because those are the ones that we usually have the most problems with, is anything negative in our lives. We don't really know how to deal with that. We usually like to blame external things for those. And so what I'm asking you to do is to remind yourself that it's because you are Source. And remind yourself that it is for your joy and that there is a positive in it, okay? So that negative situation or anything that made you feel victimized or bad is there to help you. It's why you created it in the first place. It's why you created that experience in the first place. It's to help you, all right? Now, I know that may seem a little bit difficult. I'm going to explain it a little bit better here. if you look for the lesson in the negativity, all right, that is when you'll find that it actually ultimately is your joy. It actually is there for you to expand. It's there to help you grow. What can you learn from that negative experience? It's good to remember to take the responsibility. Okay, if we have a negative experience and we react, which most of us do, we react, then that takes us and puts us in a place of disempowerment. And like I was saying earlier, if you wake up in the morning, start your day off, on Facebook, stuff like that, then you're reacting to the world. You're disempowering yourself rather than creating, having a creating presence in this world, being a creative participant. This experience that was negative is to help you find balance as well. What I mean by balance is anything that's negative, it's just to help you grow. It's to help you have hold a stronger presence in life. It's to help you expand yourself. So if you have something that happens that's out of your control, that's negative, it's always to teach you something to make yourself, be a better version of you. It's always there to help you find balance. And we do have a video that talks about the reflections in the library, which will explain this further when it comes to, what you're seeing in your outer reality and how they're there to help you find balance. So I do recommend that you go watch that. But just for right now, it's just to remember when you have any pain, when you have any negative experience, to take responsibility, remind yourself that it is for your joy, and keep in mind that sometimes joy means embracing the negativity, because the negativity is what helps us grow. If you think about exercise, right? Exercise is a little hard for some people. It's actually, I think it's hard for everybody because it's, you're breaking down your muscles, which you could consider a negative experience or a negative response. But then what happens is your body takes that experience, learns from it, and then it grows and it becomes stronger. So our mentality and our emotional states are pretty much the same way. We start growing from the experiences that we have. Anything negative, if something is stressed, you're going to learn it a lot better because you have a pain point that you'll reference, and then it makes it way easier for you to actually start responding in a much more stronger way in the future. So if that negative experience happens again, that is what will happen, is it won't affect you as bad, and you'll be stronger, and you'll get something out of it. We always do. So that's what I mean by that this is for your joy. Ultimately is for your joy. Immediately you might not be able to see it, and that's our challenge, is seeing it immediately. But in the end, it's ultimately for your joy. We exercise, it hurts temporarily, but then in the end, we get something out of it. And also, let's not forget to take responsibility for the good experiences in our life too. I know we're focusing a little bit on the bad here, but that's just because that's the ones we usually have trouble with. But what I've noticed is with a lot of people is if they don't take responsibility for anything bad, sometimes they don't also take responsibility for anything good. There's a lot of people that'll stay in a neutral position all the time. And doing that can be healthy in some ways, but then you don't enjoy life. And the whole purpose of your life is to be enjoyed. So it's good to take responsibility for the good experiences as well. All things are there for your joy, okay? That is the whole purpose of playing the game of life. It's there for your joy. So remember, open yourself to them, receive the joy. If somebody compliments you, think about it and say thank you. You don't have to build it up so much, because I know we have a lot of fear. Sometimes a lot of us have a lot of fear of letting in compliments or taking anything positive from people because we don't want to let it go to our head. We want to remain humble. But there's a good balance there as well. You want to remember that, we need to take in some energy. We need to take in some joy. Let it go to our head just a little bit, just so we can feel joy, and we can also give the gift of receiving to that other person. Think of it that way. You're giving more to that other person by receiving. If they compliment you and you ignore it or you don't receive it, then that's kind of letting them down, So if you have trouble doing it for yourself, then do some of it for them as well. Let them give you that joy. Let them feel empowered. Let them feel happy. Oh, he received my gifts. That's always a great feeling. So if that helps any, think of it that way. It's a balance between taking in some joy for you and also giving joy to the person who gave it to you. All right, so step 3. This is to expand a little bit on the whole looking at negative things. So these are called echoes that I'm going to be talking about when it comes to negative experience. I'm going to be calling those echoes. Now, echoes can be good experiences as well, but just for pretty much this part, it's easier to look at echoes as like, something that's negative, because it gives them it gives them a name, We don't really need to name anything positive, I guess, but that aside, just go with me, okay? So this is step 3, okay? Echoes and new focus. So when something you dislike comes up and you feel bad, I want you to remind yourself that it's just the past, okay? Not only is it just for your joy, it's also an echo of the past. if it's something that you're trying to change, you know. So look at it this way. It's where you last placed your focus. So the best way to explain that is, let's see. If you were looking at something, you know, if you kept a negative perspective on something for a long time, just in general, let's say you kept a negative perspective in general, what happens is you start creating all this negative energy and you start expressing this negative energy all the time. You start emanating it, and then it just goes out into your world. And so everything that comes in your life is going to be, you know, filtered through this lens of negativity that you have on. And when you do that, what happens is you start building a life of negativity. You start building things that support that negativity. So if there's a lot of negativity going in your life, this is where, like, I like to use the word echoes. This is where I like to use this idea, because this is basically, it's just reminding you this is your creation. You know, this is your responsibility, and that's a good thing because we can change it. All right. If it's somebody else's responsibility, well, then we can't really do anything from that point, you know, because then we give all the power to that other person or other thing outside of us. So remember that all things are there for your joy, okay? And that this is your responsibility. And with that responsibility, that means that we can actually change it. So to begin to change it, I want to first start off saying that this echo does not dictate how you feel or your state of being. It is only a choice to allow it to do so. So if you choose to respond differently to the echo and do not let it take control of your feelings, that is when we can start to get a change in our life. Okay, we have choice, we have a chance, and we have change. So that's what I was saying about earlier is, like, listen to these words. Choose to respond differently rather than react. And if you look at the word react, the first part of that word really is which means to continue doing something. The second part is act. So you're continuing an action. So you're doing that over and over and over again. It's always good to make a new choice, you know, to choose something new, to create. That's where I like looking at the word create. So the best way to let go of echoes is to first start off by finding how it originally served you. And I know that may sound a little crazy to some people, but yes, echoes do originally serve us. We create the echoes for some reason. Somehow it's there to help us, which I was saying earlier too, when about taking responsibility. Anything negative that comes into your life, okay, was originally there to help you grow. It's there to help you find balance and to expand yourself, to get you to where you want to be. So let's say you had a big goal, right? Your goal was to live the happiest life, or not really, that's a little general. We'll go with a big specific goal. Let's say you had a goal and you wanted to be a CEO, right? Well, anything negative that comes your way, believe it or not, is actually there to help you get to that goal, okay? And so what happens is a lot of people don't get to that goal because when negative things come, the things that are trying to help shape people into that person who can be that CEO, when they come, most people feel the pain that comes with that, like it does with exercise, and they resist it. They don't want to continue it. And if anyone's been there before when maybe they're a bit overweight or maybe they're a bit underweight and they never wanted to do the exercise to get stronger, you know, to build muscles, what happens is when they went to go exercise, they tried it for a week, tried it for 2 weeks, and then they gave up because it's just too much. They couldn't do it. They couldn't believe in themselves. Just couldn't find the willpower to do it. This is what happens. This is why we don't create the lives that we want, is because to create the lives that we want, we have to be a certain being. We have to be able to hold a certain energy and become that foundation for that experience in our life. And to do that, we have to start chiseling away at ourselves and start building ourselves to become strong enough to hold that experience. We have to become a strong enough vessel to hold the energy that is required to hold that experience. And see, that's what usually keeps people from living the dreams that they want, is that they aren't willing to go through that transformation. And I'll tell you right now that transformation does hurt. There really isn't too much way around that. Now, what you can do is, if you resist it, if you don't resist it, and you accept it and you can let it flow, and you can get better at allowing the painful things and the exercise of your life experiences to flow and to see the positive. The more you get better at seeing the positive and the negative experiences, that is when you'll start actually experiencing a lot less pain, and you'll start feeling that burn of the exercise, and you'll actually start to like it. You'll actually start to crave it. And I know that may sound completely crazy to anybody who's never actually been through exercise and gone through all of that, but once you've done it for a while and you keep committing and you keep looking at it as a positive thing, you start seeing it as something that you really want. You actually start to have this craving for it. So, like I said, finding how it originally served you, finding the lesson in that echo, see how it was there to help you, how it was there to help you grow, and if you can be grateful for it and find appreciation for why that lesson was or how it was there to help you grow, that is when it gets a lot easier to actually let go of those echoes. It's actually like the resistance to the echo that keeps us holding on to it. The best way for me to explain that is if you have something that's causing you pain, what we like to do is like, well, I'm going to hold on to this because I want to keep this in my line of sight. If I know where that thing or that person or whatever that's causing me pain is all the time, then I can avoid it because I don't have to be around it. I can just leave it alone, you know? And that's how we hold on to things in our lives. We keep our focus on them so we can avoid it, so we don't have to deal with the pain. But the problem with that is you're not dealing with the pain, but the pain is still there. And that's when you actually have a lot more of the pains because you're resisting it. And that's also what keeps the echo there. Your choice to hold on to it. That is the only reason why we continue the same cycles of experiences that we have, is our choice to hold on to it in attempts to get away from the pain and to not have to deal with it. But the only way actually to get away from that pain is to go through that pain. If you ever heard of the term bleed it out, if you have a poison inside of you, this term can be used sometimes, bleed the poison out, and it hurts to bleed. It definitely does. But it does get that poison out, and that is what's necessary. So it's just another reminder, guys, that if you want what you want, or if you do what you want, you do want what you want. But if you really want your desire that you have, and that's probably why you're taking this program, I want to remind you that it's going to hurt at first. It is going to cause some pain. You're going to have to go through those pains that you have in your life. Look at those old echoes. See how they're serving you. See what you can take from them, how you can expand yourself upon them. Don't relinquish yourself to the echo. You don't have to become whatever it is that echo is telling you to do 100%. Just take what works from that echo, learn from it, and then leave the rest. That way you can lovingly expand yourself rather than just give yourself up completely. So, by finding appreciation for the echo in the first place, for why you created it in the first place, this is really unconditionally loving yourself and will drastically transform your echoes very rapidly. So another thing to look at echoes is they're really only here to offer you another chance to make up your mind. It's kind of like a test, or in a better metaphor, it's like the safety switch on a gun, making sure if you want to fire it or not. So it's saying, hey, do you want to keep having this experience? This is why I'm here. You're holding on to me because somewhere deep down on a subconscious level, you want to keep having this experience. And that's why we're here. The echo is doing its job. Echoes work in cycles. It's the best way to do it. It's the nature of echoes. Echoes are beliefs, and beliefs are self-supporting. That's how they work. They are there to help keep your feelings constant so you may have the experience that you're experiencing without having to consciously hold it in place. So it's there just to keep that in mind, that this is why we hold on to the negative stuff, though. It's also just to get away from the pain. But there's also positive echoes, too. You have positive things in your life that are continuing to reoccur. Do you not? If you look at, are you getting food every day? Do you have a computer that you're using right now to watch this video? Do you have electricity? So these are things, if you think about it, these are good positive echoes that are they're constantly staying in your life, that are supporting this type of experience. And these aren't pain points, if that helps you feel any better. So this is what we're looking at creating more positive echoes in our life. And to do that, we have to transform the negative echoes we've been holding on to and start looking at all the negative ones that come into our lives in the future, because they will come into your life, because it's there to help chisel you down to become the person you want to be, to have the experience that you want to be. We have to start seeing them as more positive rather than negative. And the better we get at that, the easier all of these echoes appear. The easier and the faster your life becomes full of echoes that are all positive. A lot of it really is just perspective. A lot of our perspective is warped to see things in more of a negative light to avoid the pain that comes with it. But if we can start redefining pain as a good thing, as something that helps us remember the lesson. Keep that in mind when something is stressed, okay? Or think of something in your past, when you had pain in your past, you remembered that pain. If something is painful enough, it's kind of like a burn mark. The burn mark is there to remind yourself, hey, don't do this again, you know? Anything that stays as a scar, it's there to remind you, hey, don't do this again. Those pain points are there to help you learn that lesson. And if we can remember that pain is a positive thing, it's there to keep us, one, from getting killed. If you go to the extreme too much, you can get killed. 2, it's there to help us find balance. Like I said, the extremes get you killed. It's help you find balance and to help you learn that lesson. And by learning that lesson, you'll find that balance. And when you get to that equilibrium, you get to that balance, that is when your life will start becoming the happiest and best life ever. It's that balance point. If you've taken any science classes, your body has this thing called, it's a state of homeostasis, which pretty much means balance. The way your body works is everything is in a constant balance all the time. And if it's not in a balance, what happens is we get sicknesses or diseases. That's when we have all these problems with our lives. This also works with your outer reality too. If anything is out of balance, any ideas, any perceptions of life, any emotions that you have towards things, then what happens is you'll start seeing that appear in your life through your outer reality and all your experiences. You'll start getting reflections, and it's in that video that explains this a little bit better too in the library on reflections. You'll start getting reflections of everything around you, showing you what you are and what you need to adopt to find balance. It starts reflecting all of the extremes in your life. It will also reflect all the balance points in your life as well. So that's the good thing. But that's pretty much what happens, is if you can find that balance point, you will find your joy, and that's what we're looking to do here. All right, so the last thing, but also very important thing to do when it comes to echoes is once you've learned the lesson, once you've grown from the echo and looked at it and milked it for everything that it's worth and become grateful for how it was there to serve you in the first place, you want to remember to keep a vision of what you want, okay? So if you're going through an echo, this is also a great opportunity to create a vision of what you want to experience from now on, all right? So not only do you want to learn from this echo and grow and become that, it's there to remind you of what your vision is in the first place. And it's also there to help you fine-tune your vision because, when you first create your vision, you may have this basic generic idea. But if you go through an experience, it'll help you fine-tune it. It'll help you specify, well, maybe I did want the automatic transmission in the vehicle because of what happened with my experience with manuals, or maybe I did want to have a team that works with me while I'm working on becoming a leader or the CEO or something like that, rather than just doing it all on my own, because I learned that doing it on my own is extremely difficult and almost impossible. I don't know, it's our own subjective experiences, but just these are the things that can happen that can help us when we're going through these echoes fine-tune, and this is what it does. It helps you fine-tune and specify what you actually want. So this will shift your focus to your desire as well. It just helps you do that and makes it more fine-tuned and make you more of a match to it, make you more of a match to hold it. So it's all about setting those new intentions, So state your new intention to your echo, but still remember to appreciate that echo, all right? Become okay with it. So, learn what you can from it so we can let it go, so you don't have to keep holding on to it. Go through that pain, bleed it out, grow from that, all right? Become a better being. Become that person that you're wanting to become so you can have your experience. Thank that echo for helping you get clear on your true desire. And the other thing about intentions, actually, too, while we're here, I like to set intentions rather than say, this is my clear goal, because intentions help you let go of some attachment to it as well. So if you write down, my intention for the day is to do this, and you read it a few times throughout the day, once in the morning, once in the midday, once at night, then it just helps you feel a lot less resistance to having to work on it, if that makes any sense. But take what you will from that. That's just something that I like to do because it helps me let go of my attachment to that goal. I'll get a little too serious about it. So if I write down the intention, well, then I intended to do it. If I don't do it, that's okay. I made the intention and I did my best, But most of the time, because of that, I actually end up doing it. And I completely forgot that I made the intention. So it's just pretty cool. A little bit of tidbit of help if that helps you guys. So, and then one last thing dealing with these echoes, okay? It's important that you allow yourself to feel everything that echo triggers within you. So for you to let that echo go, like I said, you have to feel everything that it brings up. That can be anger, that can be sadness, that can be any emotion that comes your way. Let it bring those emotions up because you need those emotions. Those emotions are what help you actually fine-tune on things. They're what guide you to where you want to go. All right? So this is part of that echo's purpose. It's to teach you something. Remember that. I'll keep reiterating. And all lessons are learned by feeling. Remember that. Learned by feeling our emotions. If you don't feel, you won't learn, and the echo will stay until you do. We have an emotional guidance system for a reason. It's meant to help us learn and grow and to get back on track with who we really are. And what I like to say is our higher self's desires, our higher self's path, okay? Our balanced path, because that is what our higher self wants. Our higher self wants the best for us, which is balance on top of that. Like I said, we have the higher self videos for that. If you're also having trouble feeling, we have a video in the library, talks about how to feel, talks about visualization, that can help you do that. So from here on, I have one last suggestion to help get you clear on how you're feeling, and that is to journal, okay? If you're having trouble figuring out what to learn from an echo and how you're feeling, I want you to journal. I want you to start writing everything that you feel. This is another way to help you feel alongside the visualization video. So personally, I'll open like a empty email or get a piece of paper and a pen, and I'll just start writing and typing everything that I'm feeling. Even if it seems ultra negative and you don't think you should write something like this, go ahead and do it anyways, okay? You've got to be honest with yourself. You've got to be clear. You've got to be present with everything that's coming your way, because all of your emotions have a message to you to help guide you back to balance. So just accept what's there and become okay with it. It is definitely there to help you grow. And think of it as a fertilizer. It may look gross and smell bad because it's pretty shitty, but that is what gives the nutrients necessary to grow, okay? A garden has to have nutrients. It has to have the shit to be able to create that beautiful, lovely fruit. And I know that sounds disgusting, but that's the best way to explain it, okay? So I got a little picture right here, and it's really cool to read. And it's a little quote it's a Mexican proverb. They tried to bury us, but they didn't know we were seeds. So just think about that. Let that sink in, okay? All right, so step 4. The next step is visualization, all right? So I want you to spend some more time deliberately aiming your focus at your new desire. Not only when you're going through the echoes, and those are great opportunities, but spend a little time in the morning, you know? If you remember from the previous videos, it's what you focus on that will be seen, felt, and manifested and experienced in your life. And this one is really easy. All you have to do, and this one actually can be really fun too, and I recommend us all do it because this is actually one of the funnest parts of it, is write a list of all the things that you desire to see in your life. You know, all your goals, whatever it is that you want to achieve. If you want a new car, write down the new car. If you want a new job, write down the new job. If you want a relationship, write down that relationship. You want more money, write down that more money. And after you've written them all down, and be extremely specific with these, okay? Because this is where you get to have a lot of fun. You get to be very creative. And being very specific will help you get into this feeling that we're going to try to get you to get into with the visualization. Spend some time just simply visualizing those exact scenarios, playing out how you want it to. All right? So that's what I mean, be specific. So I'll just give you some examples. Like if you're looking to feel confident, write down, I am confident, and write down all the things that would help you feel that you were confident. Picture those things. Picture those things in your mind. If you want to be rich, picture yourself doing things as if you were rich. If that means you're giving money to everybody that you love, or donating to donations, or buying a new house, then write those things down and visualize those things. You're looking to be loved. Picture yourself being surrounded by people that love you, or picture people loving you. If you're looking to be healthy, picture yourself healthy. What would you look like? How would you feel? How would you speak? How would you act? What would you do? If you're looking to develop a new skill, picture yourself enacting in that skill. All I'm saying is write down what it is that you want and write it in an I am kind of way, because that helps you claim it more. And if you claim it, there's a lot of power in the words I am in claiming something, because it really gets your focus on that experience as if it is something. Helps you get a feeling of what it feels like to become that person, to feel that energy, and to become the foundation to hold that experience up. So write these all down. And I recommend for each one, you can do 5, do as many as you want, but for each one, do it for 3 minutes. Exactly for the same reasons as above. The 3 minutes is enough time to create a structure for things. 3s are very powerful. You create a structure for that energy to keep it going throughout the day. I'd suggest doing the visualization right after you do the I am source, reaffirming, and mantras that are after that, because it just keeps that momentum, and you end up spending maybe like 20 minutes to start your day, that's a whole lot for your day. You'd be amazed at the impact that you will get if you start doing 20 minutes just doing all of the things that come up with this. Like there's another step on step 5 that we'll also be adding, and it's just incredible what all of this does combined. All right, so yeah, like I said, just 3 minutes per desire. It's always good to do that. But you can go longer if you'd like to. By all means, if you really want to go longer, you're doing yourself a great favor and the world, actually. So go longer than 3 minutes. That is awesome. But as long as you just do a minimum of 3 minutes, you'll be set and you'll be fine. So, and then I have a little advanced tip for visualization, which I just learned recently. I'm still learning, trust me. I'm human. This is called reverse engineering visualization. I really like this idea because it really helps you get into the feeling again. So this is simply visualizing the outcome you wish to achieve and seeing it very clearly in your mind's eye. Basically what you're already doing. But afterward, I want you to ask yourself, what am I doing that got me here? So let's say you got your new car, right? So, or let's say you got your new house or whatever. We'll use the house, for example. You see yourself in that mansion. You see yourself in that big house, the dream house of yours, okay? And you're feeling everything around it. Get that feeling for a few minutes, okay? Do the 3 minutes for that feeling, and then ask yourself, what am I doing that got me here? All right, this is a very powerful question. What will happen is you're going to find something underneath that outcome. It's a layer. Like, think of a foundation, okay? So like you're going to see you're going to see what is this foundation made of if you think about it like that. And you're going to see, hey, it's bricks, you know? And from there, you're going to want to keep asking the same question. Keep breaking it down until you get down to where you first started, you know, where you're at right now. This can help you take the next step from where you're at right now to get closer to your outcome. Be sure, though, that these steps feel right and that you know without a doubt that is something that you should be doing. It will feel completely right in alignment with you, and it will be full of joy. It may not make any sense at all on the outside, but it will feel right. And usually that is the biggest and the most powerful sign that you're doing everything correctly for this, okay? So I have a little image here just to give you an idea. The outcome is like the thing on top. It's the step on top. Then from right there, after feeling that for 3 minutes, getting into that world, then you can break it down to step 3, and you can be like, okay, what is holding step 4 up? What color is here? And you'll see it. And for this little image, you have turquoise, you know? And what's under that? Okay, gold. And what's under that? Oh, that's where I'm at right now. Okay, so I need to get to gold. That's my next step. So it helps you get there, if that makes sense. Take what you can from this. If this works for you, great. If it doesn't, just stick with the other visualization. I have found really great results with this, and I actually think it's a very, very helpful tool. So, step 5 then, after visualization. So this is the last step of our 5 steps, okay? And that is gratitude. So it may seem silly, but this is one of the most powerful and important steps when it comes to creating the life of your dreams. The reason for this is because gratitude is what fills up your joyful energy tank. And you do have a joyful energy tank. Trust me on this. The more you are grateful for in your life, the more that you are going to appreciate. The more fulfilling your life is going to be. Hear those words? Fulfilling, okay? That is what we are constantly saying all the time. I'm feeling a lack of fulfillment. And that is your joyful energy tank. You want to fill up that joyful energy tank. You want to feel like you're full of joy, that you're full of energy, you're full of life. And remember, the whole point of this program is to be happy and full of joy. If you're not happy now, trust me, you're not going to be happy when you have your desires, because being happy, and this may sound insane, takes energy, and it takes an effort, and it's a choice. And if we're living a life that is reactive, okay, if we're living a life that we're reacting to everything outside of us, then what happens is we've given our power completely away. The world is now our master, and we are the slave. The world is now using us. We are a part of this world. Think of it as a very heavy stream, you know, the rough waters, and you're just letting the stream take your boat anywhere you go. You're reacting. You're just letting it do whatever it does, okay? If you guide it, if you make the choice to guide it a little bit, go with the flow. You got to always go with the flow. We are in a world full of water. So that's something you don't want to change. We chose that from the beginning. And that's something that I do believe in. It's explained more throughout the program, throughout the library. But we chose that from the beginning. And that is kind of like the game board that we chose, okay? So we want to go with the flow a little bit, but not completely. You want to be able to set your sails for your destination. If you just get on a ship and you go out in the ocean and say, oh, this will let the wind take it wherever it wants to take me, well, you're going to end up going places you might not like. You might end up getting trapped on an island somewhere. You might end up hitting something like some rocks in the ocean, stuff like that. So you got to be able to guide it a little bit, and that's where our power comes from. This is where our lives become especially exciting. They become so full of joy is when we start taking a little bit of the control that we have, which is choosing the destination. That is pretty much all that we have to do here. That is our only goal, is choosing the destination. We don't really choose too much how we get there. That is the fun of life, is the hows come, if you think about it. We choose a destination and then the hows just come our way. And that's when we have fun. We have to go with those. We work with those hows. So pretty much what I'm saying is, if you aren't choosing to be happy now, then you're not. What makes you think you'd be choosing to be happy when you have your desires? You have your desires, you'll be putting all your happiness on those desires. They'll probably fill you up for a couple weeks, and then what's going to happen is you might get bored of them. That's something that we usually do. We get bored with things. When something isn't new, we get bored, and that's living a reactive lifestyle to conditions. Conditions make us happy is the idea. We think something outside of us makes us happy, and don't get me wrong, there are things out there. It's like, some people I like coffee, who doesn't like coffee? People like food, people like sex, people like a lot of things, drugs, alcohol, that get them off, that give them a temporary buzz, a temporary high feeling, and that's what we're looking for. We're looking for a high feeling, bliss. But the thing is those things outside of us, a lot of them are temporary, and we can get very attached to them, and some people do. And if you give too much of your power away, then you get attached to it, and you end up getting, living in an extreme, and you lose a lot of your happiness. If you don't have that thing outside of you, then what happens is you can get very, emotional, or you become very too dependent on it, if that makes sense. And if you're too dependent on it, then there really isn't that much of that balanced sense that we're looking for. And that is the kind of joy I think a lot of people are actually looking for, is that balanced sense of joy inside of us, that joy that is in alignment with our higher self. So that's what we're doing here, is giving you some power, and also accepting that the world is the way it is a little bit. So it's just going with the flow, but directing that flow. And when you bring those two together and you find that balance, that's when you find a life full of joy and a life very fulfilling. So lastly, gratitude is the energy of appreciation. Gratitude and love for life that is put into all the things around you, or sown into your environment, that will grow more fruits of the things that you appreciate and the things that you love. So when you do this, when you have gratitude, you're feeling that energy of appreciation. This is the joy energy. This is the energy tank that I was saying that you have. When you feel gratitude, you fill that up. And it's that energy that keeps things alive, that puts joy into things, if you think about it. To give you a quick example, is some people like cats, some people like dogs. Some people hate cats, some people hate dogs. It is you, the individual, the being, that puts the joy into things based upon how you perceive something, how you see it. So if you can see the positive in it, then you can put joy in it. That's not to say that you can change from being a cat lover to a dog lover. There are other factors at play here, but you can learn to find more joy in a dog, and you'll realize that, okay, maybe I'm not a dog lover, maybe I'm not a cat lover, but I can appreciate it, I can feel good, I can learn things from whatever experiences. I'm just using this as an example. Maybe cats and dogs ain't the best example. But the best example I can say is, like, if there's something outside of you that is negative, you can learn to enjoy it. It doesn't mean that you have to, keep it in your life. But by learning to love it and appreciate it and fill it up with joy, it can help you grow. And what happens is you can find more room in your life to direct yourself to your preferences. You can have your preferences. It's when we don't have our preferences, usually when we get upset and unhappy with life. But that's the reactive part of us. And we're just learning to let go of, becoming too reactive. We're learning to let go of putting too much negativity and too much power into that outside thing. That way we can let go of that echo and let in the echoes that we want, the preferences that we have. But alright, so our suggestion is to have a gratitude log that you write in every day for at least 3 minutes of all the simple things that you appreciate. It doesn't have to be really big. They can be big things, but I really want to recommend the small things because, again, it is the small things that really make up this world. You got to think about it. The small things, when added together, they're the ones that actually make up the big things. Without all the small materials that were put together just right, you wouldn't have your house, you wouldn't have a computer, you wouldn't have food, water, or anything. And we believe that the smallest things are the most precious, and that the smallest thing of all actually is love, and you can find it in everything, including the biggest of things. The best way to put it is it has to be the smallest because it's in everything. That makes sense. It's got to fit. But it's also the biggest because it's the biggest or just small things combined to make a big thing. So ultimately, love is the smallest but biggest thing at the same time, if that makes any sense. It's like the yin and yang kind of. But please remember that it is definitely the small things that are important, and don't take them for granted too long. We're going to take them for granted a lot in our lives. Just remember to sometimes take some time to look at them and appreciate them. But I really want to focus on saying appreciate the small things, because too much in life, it's just way too easy to get into this idea. And this is what I'm talking about, the reactive lifestyle that we were living. It's way too easy to look outside of ourselves and say, oh, well, this thing outside of me makes me happy. And usually what we say is the biggest thing outside of me is what makes me happy. The biggest is the best. The prettiest is the best. The grandest is the best. The best is the best is the biggest. All this stuff, it goes to the bigger the size or the more there is, then the better, And it's not really that much of a flawed philosophy. We're basing it off the idea, oh, well, it means we're abundant, But we just have to remember what made that in the first place. Because what will happen is we'll neglect the small things. We'll neglect the foundation. We'll neglect the tiny things that have to be there to uphold the biggest things. If you didn't have the foundation, which you could say is smaller than the house, then the house wouldn't be supported. And sometimes we're like, oh, well, it's just the house. Just because we don't see the smallest thing, we don't see the foundation all the time, or we don't see the things inside, or like the plumbing in the house. We don't see the things on the inside of people that are upholding them on the outside. We take them for granted and we think, oh, it's not small things at all. It's this big thing. So that's why we're emphasizing for the gratitude is to appreciate the small things, because those are actually what the biggest things are. So to give you some examples, I appreciate water. I appreciate my computer. I appreciate my friends. I appreciate sunlight. Appreciate this reminder to appreciate. I appreciate my vehicle. I appreciate smiles. I appreciate love. Anything at all in your life that's small, if it's a cat, if it's if it's the carpet, it's the wooden floors, the heat, somebody just looking at you and giving you a hug afterwards, any form of love actually is the smallest thing you can find, if you look at it that way. This is what I would suggest to do, is just focus on the small things, and you will find that you're way more abundant in your life than you have ever been, because everything in the world is small if you think about it. There's not that many big things, but there's tons of small things. And if you can find joy in those small things and realize that it is those small things that make the big things, then you will find that you have abundance everywhere you look, and that you are far more loved than you realized in the first place. And don't forget to appreciate those echoes, okay? I know those are the hardest, but if you want to change them, you gotta learn to love them. You gotta learn to love pain. You gotta look at it and remember, hey, it helps me learn that lesson, okay? That pain is the stress point that I'm not going to forget about. It's the pain that's going to remind me, don't do this again, or expand yourself and, become this new being. Start appreciating the pain that I had with that lesson. Start appreciating whatever it was that lesson was there to teach me, and start taking that lesson on. Start bringing in some of that lesson and expanding yourself as a being. Find how they're supposed to help you expand yourself and appreciate them, okay? And if you can appreciate them, you won't hold on to them any longer. You won't have to keep them close to you all day out of fear that they'll hurt you. You can let them go. So whatever that is, if the echo is you're being overweight, or if the echo is, not having enough food, the echo is not having enough, not having a good car, not having good relationships, the echoes can be anything negative at all. Remember what we said on step 3 is to just find what you can learn from them, okay? So to summarize it all up, the first step is to affirm and surrender. So you're going to affirm that you are source, God, divinity, the universe, all that is. And we're going to surrender to our higher self, to our higher self. Hope you guys enjoy the playfulness in this. There's lots of mistakes going on. And then the third part is opening your heart, saying my heart is open and I feel love and joy. Step 2 is to reiterate to yourself, I am source. This negative experience is for my joy. It's there to help me expand. It's an echo. Taking responsibility for all the negative feelings that you feel towards the stuff and your outer reality. If you see something outside of you and it causes you pain on the inside, remember it's just your perspective that is creating that. It's just the way you're seeing it. And that is your responsibility. And that's okay, and that's a good thing, because you can change the things that you have created for yourself. If you're responsible for it, you can change it. That gives you power. Number 3, echoes and new focus. Echoes are there to help us expand, to learn, and to grow. And once we've faced the pain with that, learned a lesson from the echo, then it's important to remember the echoes are also an opportunity to help us finite and, specify what our new intention is, what our new goal is, what our new focus is. Number 4 is to visualize, to have fun. This is where we have fun. Write down the things that you want. Be super specific and sit down and visualize them, feel them out. Do as many as you want, but just do a few a day. Do whatever you gotta do. But do 3 minutes a day. Do a few visualizations on the main goals that you want, and you will just feel amazing. Do this right after you do the affirming and surrendering, okay? This makes it so much stronger, creates the momentum for your day to be even better. Step 5, gratitude. Appreciate those small things, all right? Appreciate those echoes too, okay? Both of that. Appreciate everything that comes your way to the best of your ability. Write them down. Read them as much as you want. Read them. I think reading your gratitude log in the morning is great. If you couldn't think of anything this morning, go back to the day before. Read them after you visualize. Really helps. Or read them before you visualize if you're having trouble visualizing. Just you want to get into a good state of feeling. So read what you're grateful for. Remind yourself every day. Try to think of new ones. You can go back as well and do this stuff throughout your day. I'd say in the morning, halfway through the day, and then at the end of the night. It's always good to end your night on a good note too. Doing that throughout the day, just making that an important part of your life. Just making this is helping you get some control in your life, becoming a creative participant rather than a reactive, participant. So these are the these are the 5 steps, the step 5s. The step 5s to creating the life that you want. You really want to trust me if I can't even get the sentence structure right? I'm just picking. All right. And so all of this is a 30 days practice, by the way. I do want to stress here that while you have incredible results in 30 days, highly recommend that you continue with these practices as a daily thing, even past the 30 days. It has been the experience of myself and many others that we've helped that the more we continue this, the better our lives become, the more creative we get. It's just really important to remember that. It's that we're getting ourselves from a reactive participating role to a creative participating role, and we're empowering ourselves more. When you are empowered and in balance, then your life becomes something that you want it to become. Adjusting the sails, but going with the flow of the water, if that makes sense. We've also noticed that if we stop doing these steps, this is pretty much going back to that, we become reactive again. We forget our power, and we just get swept back into just getting by, drifting in that stream, rather than guiding our boat along the way. It's something that it's okay if you really want to do it. It's up to you. Your life is in your control. But I've done it once or twice now, and it's extremely difficult sometimes to get back into that state of power once you've gotten so used to being disempowered. So that's why I recommend doing this every day. It only helps and only makes it better. But it's your life. You do what you want to do, okay? And then, so the last thing here too is all of this is a 5-step guide to achieving your heart's desire. Your power only increases the more you understand the truth of life and who you really are. And you've heard me talk about it already in this part of the program a lot, that we have a library, that we have extra videos in the extra support section. I highly recommend you check those out. Please do yourself the favor, expand your knowledge, expand your wisdom, expand your understanding of the truth of your life, where you are a powerful being, you have a higher self, you're more than you thought you were. I highly suggest that you look around the rest of the website, watch the videos in the library, watch the videos in the extra support the extra support section. We have videos that explain your higher self, the ego, fear, your gratitude, how to be more grateful. The more we go more into the subject of these things too, unconditional love. We explain the law of attraction, how everything is energy, your power even more. We explain how to love yourself more, the power of your joy, being authentic, and much, much more. We even have a private Facebook group. If you need more support by other people or by us, the creators, me, Sho, Sekat, in the program, we have that group for the people in the program, we have that group for support by us and others in the program. And then we also have a Q&A video day that we do on Wednesdays called Wize Wednesday. I get them out when I get the questions. And you can send us any questions that you have, and I'll make a Wize Wednesday video responding to it. And if you need private coaching, if you feel like you need more one-on-one support by people who have practiced this stuff for years now, okay, and we fine-tune it into these steps, these 5 steps to make it simple, so we can remind ourselves who have gotten ourselves back to a reactive lifestyle, just going with the stream, who fell back into that water and then gotten out again. If you want some help with that, we also offer paid private coaching. You can find that in the community section, or I think it's in the community section or the extra support section, one of those. It is on the website. You can get one-on-one support for us, and we'll be there to help you via Skype, or if you want to set up an appointment if you're in our local area. You can check out wizevibestech.com also if you're looking for more of a local area kind of thing, or just contact us on the Surviving into Thriving website if you wanted to set up something that was local. Just contact us on the contact page. So yeah, that is it for this video, guys. I highly suggest that you watch all those videos. The next thing I'd like you to do, you should see, and it's on the page that you're on right now, is to watch the video that says Infinite Zoom, okay? Because this is giving you the idea of how you are source. Okay, so first, it's a quick 2 or 3 minute video to show you that you are source, to show you that that everything in the universe is within you and you are the universe. It's really cool. I think you'll find it really, really spooky, kind of. Actually, it's kind of spooky, but it's really cool. And then after that, there's also another video that says I am source. I just created that. It helps you give you some ideas. It gives you some visuals to help you feel like you are source, and with some nice music to go ahead and get you that feeling for that. But I want to thank you guys for taking the program. You're doing yourselves a huge favor, but not just that, you're doing the world a big favor. We need more people in this world to empower themselves, to remember who they really are, that they are loved, to spread more love in this world. The more you are empowered, the more you are happy and full of joy, the more your cup is full and overflowing of joy and love and happiness, where other people can also get that. And other people can start picking that up and becoming just like you. You are becoming an example for the entire world to go by. That is the best thing you can ever do. The best thing you can do is to be in a blissful, joyful, loving state. And that starts with loving ourselves enough to do that. It starts with loving ourselves enough to give ourselves that joy. And if we're willing to give ourselves that joy, well, guess what? That is how we treat other people. We treat other people how we treat ourselves. So if you treat yourself like a king and like you are source, like a god, like you are, like you are the best person in the world, if you love yourself enough to understand yourself, to let yourself be human, to let yourself have your faults, to love yourself for all of those things, then you'll give that to other people. And that is how we change this world for the better. That is how we start making this world a better, more loving place, by loving ourselves, filling our cups up, becoming more blissful, and, honoring the divine and divinity within ourselves, so we can do that for everybody else. Our goal with Wize Vibes Tech and Surviving into Thriving is to help everyone in the world live a better life, to live a joyful life, to live the life of their dreams, to live their heart's desires. And we have seen it happen for ourselves, and we've seen it happen for a lot more other people, and we want to keep expanding this. So thank you so much for being a part of this program. And if you want to help us out, you can donate, or you can share this program. Heck, you're already helping us out just by taking the program. But there are other options that we have on the website. Thank you. And we wish you the best life ever. Okay? Much love, much peace, much unity, and respect, and honor of the divine within you. Have a good day, guys.